Business is built one relationship at a time, one relationship after the next, after the next. And so when they come into your community, most people join a group but they never hear from them. And so if you implement the nurture sequence where you reach out, you welcome them to the group, you offer the value, firstly, they're going to get value sooner. And if they get value from you, they like you, the conversation changes. Most coaches know what they want to coach, but they have no idea who they want to help because they can help everyone and they can do everything for everyone, right? And so then if you don't know who you can help because you want to help everyone, then how can you make community specific to anyone? People go in red hot trying to ask about their goals at the beginning, or even worse than goals, their problems, right? Like they're messaging someone they've just connected with and people aren't ready for that yet.
You came here today with an 8-figure entrepreneur, which happens to be your mentor, Mr. Richmond Dean. What's the biggest lesson that you have gotten from him?
One of the biggest things that he taught me is that people...
Welcome to Founders Playbook Podcast, the ultimate guide for entrepreneurs to build their empires, increase profits, and become great leaders. I'm your host, Nelson, founder and CEO of Vibes Creative, Australia's leading video podcast agency. Let's get down to business. Welcome back to another episode. Today, as usual, we have an absolute legend at Vibes HQ. She is the queen of groups and communities. She's here to show you how to build and monetize an online community with your dream clients so that you can too create your $1 million group. Please welcome the legend, the incredible Miss Sarah Ng.
You rock. I'll give you a clap for that. Thank you. I appreciate it. Super excited to be here.
No time to waste. What does it take to build a $1 million community?
You know, it actually doesn't take a lot. I had a client last year do $500,000 in sales in 6 months, and she only has 1,000 group members. So not a lot, not a lot, which is crazy. Obviously, it's a business, takes effort, takes time to build and to grow, but like it's ridiculous what you can do with a small amount of people if you just focus on like connection versus vanity metrics and numbers.
Absolutely. And ultimately, just building similar to what we were discussing with our previous guest, right? That is actually your mentor found out, Richmond, right? That basically it's all about building that relationship through either a tiny challenge model, groups, communities. We do it through podcasting, but trust is at the lowest it has ever been. Skepticism is absolutely at the highest high, right? So you want to find what could be a better way of building relationships, and sounds like you'll be the right person to talk to when it comes to building a community. Now, who will benefit out of building a community?
We specifically work with coaches, but anyone who, like if you're selling an online service, even physical products, physical services, really, right? Like if you're thinking, let's say, I don't know, who else has a PT would do great, like in person, but community. I saw someone, they were selling like beauty products and stuff, but women want to be part of a community, right? Where they learn and connect over that stuff. So obviously we focus on coaches, but I mean, if you have a product, you have an avatar, right? And if you have an avatar, that avatar wants community. If you have a service, you have an avatar. If you have an avatar, they want a place to belong or a place to connect. And so, you know, you could create community for anything. We have a client, she's like a vegan health coach. So she has a plant-based community, right? But she can take that community and she can go to plant-based cafes and do meetups for vegans and stuff. And maybe they could sell vegan products and stuff in there. So it doesn't have to be services. Obviously, that's what we work with. But if you have an avatar, they want a place to belong.
What do most people get wrong about building a successful online community?
They don't have a nurture sequence. They don't have a funnel, right? Just because it's organic, we do is organic, and you can run ads, of course, but we have built everything up organically. And I think where people go wrong with building organic social media in any way is that there's no funnel. They're just posting randomly and then hoping that clients are going to come their way. And so people that I see that struggle with their Facebook group are doing the same thing. They've created a group and they've funneled traffic there, but then they're not doing anything intentionally with the traffic. And I meet people, we work with beginner coaches, but I meet people who have bigger businesses than me, and they say, Sarah, can you help me with my group, because it's there and it's full of people, but there's nothing going on there. And so you still want to put an intentional like customer journey process or funnel steps, touch points in place to move them from being cold to warm to hot to working with you.
Absolutely. We see the same thing when it comes to podcasting. Basically, people going through all the effort that goes into launching a podcast, but then they don't have a true knockout offer or a conversion mechanism in the backend to then turn that traffic into customers, right? So I'm curious as well to hear from you. What is the step by step? Let's talk about someone that hasn't yet started a community. How they should go about it
To start the community or to put the nurture sequence?
to start the community from scratch. Let's just say they have no community at all, so
Okay.
they're looking to build.
All right, cool. We reverse engineer from the offer. So we start with what it is that you're coaching, and if you're in a coaching space, right? Most coaches know what they want to coach, but they have no idea who they want to help because they can help everyone and they can do everything for everyone, right? And so then if you don't know who you can help because you want to help everyone, then how can you make a community specific to anyone, right? And so we start with the offer and we go through and go, what's in that you're coaching, what's in your program, what's in your service, what topics you cover. Even if they don't have like a training program, they might just do it one-on-one, but they have an idea, like a framework of what they want to teach, right? So we go through what it is that you want to teach, and then we work that backwards based on like what you really want to be coaching. We work that backwards to what are the main problems that you can solve with that, like what are the best problems that you can solve with that, and then we work that backwards to, well, who are the people that have those problems, and then we can go, okay, cool, so who is it now that you really want to serve? Usually going through that process gives people a lot of clarity, and they can dial it down to, well, you know what, now that I've actually gone through this and I see what I do, what problems it can solve and who it can help, I really want to help this who. And so then once you have a who, the community is just, it's all about the who, like who is your community for. So then you can set one up and follow the steps pretty easy, right? Like create group, make a banner, make a name, and it doesn't need to be anything fancy. People get really stuck up trying to make the group name like their branding or what matters to them. When they put all this extra stuff in there, it gets really wordy, and they got pictures of themselves in the banner and all this stuff going on. And if you go online and look at some of the biggest groups, they're really simple names. They're not fancy or sexy, and it's just clear like what is the group for, and the banner is really simple. Like, so the whole point of the community is it needs to be clear to your avatar, like, is the group for me, like who is it for? And then you can obviously go from there with growing it.
Niching down, absolutely a must, right? To have success with your group, and then getting really clear on who the group is for from that specific target market. What do you find are the best things that are currently working in order for people to grow an online community successfully?
We do it all organically. So everything is organic and on Facebook. And the reason that I love that is because Facebook is the only platform that you can create a funnel with all of these touch points. So someone comes into your space on Facebook, right? And let's say they connect with you as a friend, they see some content, you thank them for connecting, you invite them to the Facebook group, they get tagged in a welcome video, they get another message, like a personal message welcoming them, they get some video content now, some longer form video content that's really helping them with a problem. They dropped an email when they came in, so now they've got an automated email sequence. In the space of 24 hours, someone could have up to 10 touch points with you in various different ways. It's not you just DMing them 10 times being spammy, right? Like, it's quality touch points. They've got value in an email, value in a video, a welcome video, personal reach out. And so you have just massively condensed how long it takes a person to build trust with you, because touch points, right? Like, at the beginning, we're not taking you seriously. The nervous system needs time to see you, and we have a preference for things that we are more familiar with, and that just is putting touch points in place. And so you massively like condense this process into a short period of time, and it's all organic. You're just connecting with people, creating content, inviting them to the group, and then moving them through a nurture sequence.
What do you find as well in terms of consistently and predictably growing the community? How often should you be posting? Should it be just on Facebook? Which platforms as well? So what are you finding is the best way to generate that consistent traffic for the community?
To get them to the group, you mean? Yes. Or just in general?
Yes.
To the group? We just use our personal page. It's so simple. People are overcomplicating it. Like, they think they need to be on a ton of different platforms or doing a lot. Like, last year was our first $1 million year, and we posted an average of twice per week on Facebook. I'm embarrassed to say that. I'm now working on posting more. I've posted 4 times this week already. So good. I'm feeling, I'm now working on, okay, cool, let's like put out volume quality content. But for the most part, like building up to this, it was really about working the customer journey process and moving them through intentionally, because most people are posting content and hoping people will come, whereas we are posting content and we're inviting them. So we have a message, we thank them for connecting, and then we invite them to the group. We press the invite button. We have freebies that we're sending them to the group. So all traffic is actually heading to the group. Everything that we do, the traffic is going to the group. If you're doing podcasts, if you're doing anything else, it's going to the group. If you're engaging in other groups or connecting in other groups, you're sending traffic to the group. We do have VAs that also like add friends and connect and bring them to the group too, but you do not need to start with that. You can just be doing it on your own profile, but all traffic goes to the group, and it's just about making sure that you put the systems in place so that everyone is moving through those touch points versus you just posting content and hoping they come or hoping they join.
And then talk to me about the whole customer journey, right? You start posting content, you generate the traffic, you're driving that traffic towards the group. What details do they fill in order to get access to the group?
So there's 3 questions when people join the group. That's pretty simple. First question is just asking what's going on for them. You can put a drop down if you want. So you want to think path of least resistance, right? So you don't want friction. When you're starting the group, you're a no-name, your brand is small, there's no one in the group. There's not a lot of desire for people to come and join your group. And where people kind of get stuck with that is I'll ask them a question and they want them to answer and say all their problems and all their challenges, and no one's answering it because, well, you're a nobody and your group is got 3 people in it, and I don't care about putting in that effort to answer that question for you. So what we want to think about is every step of the way we're trying to remove friction, right? And path of least resistance, make it easy. So the first question can just be a drop down. Where are you at in your business, or what are you struggling with, or how old are your kids? Whatever. Do a couple drop downs, depends on your niche, right? To let them just pick one. That's what's going on with them. Then the second question is to get the email. So the email should be a really, really good freebie, like a really hot resource. You should have over 70% of people dropping their emails because they want the thing. And then the third question is to move them to your sales event. Like, do you want details for the sales event? Yes or no? Where people get stuck with this is that people will opt in for the sales event, and then they reach out and go, oh my God, so excited to have you in the group. Do you want to come to the event? I saw that you ticked yes to the event. Do you want the details? And then they ghost, right? Which is what happens when people reach out to you on social media. I don't know, you've probably had it, right? They go, hey, I love what you're doing. I'd love to talk to you. And then you get excited. In your early days, I'm sure like you would have been like, oh my God, this person wants to talk to me, right? Yeah. And then you go, yeah, let's get on this call, like a discovery call or whatever. And then they ghost. And so it's still the same thing in the group. They've said yes to come to this sales event, but they're not nurtured yet. And so when you go in guns blazing, OTT, super excited to get them on the event, then they ghost. And so once they come into the group, they've answered the questions, great. You've got the lead, you got the email. They've even given you some data. Now the data, you can make video content with the data. You can add them to the email sequence. But when you reach out and connect with them, you're just going to lead with value and easy to say yes to questions, right? And so it's just like, hey, excited to have you in a group. I just did this thing on blah, 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 this video on 10 ways to whatever, lose weight based on your genetics, right? Oh, that's great. Yes, I would like that. Would you like the replay? They say yes. And so now you're just getting them comfortable answering little questions, at the same time getting value to them. And then as soon as they start taking in the longer form video content, you would know this, right? Because you do podcasts. As soon as they take in the long form video content, the conversation changes. They're like, oh my God, I watched that video. It was so helpful. Thank you so much, right? Then you can take a bit more of an interest in them. Maybe you might ask a little bit about their goals now, but people go in red hot trying to ask about their goals at the beginning, or even worse than goals, their problems at the beginning, right? Like they're messaging someone they've just connected with, and people aren't ready for that yet. And so it's like, we want to take them through this like easy process of easing into connecting with you, starting to get value to them, because at the beginning, they don't even want your value. And that's how I started a group. Was I was a sales trainer who couldn't make a sale. That was my background in corporate, was sales training. I started a sales training business, but no one wanted to talk to me. So I would post content and run webinars, but no one wanted to come to my webinars. I'm like, hey, thanks for connecting, appreciate it. And they're like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. What you do is so needed. I can see that you're a sales trainer. Like, that's amazing. I used to struggle with sales, but I don't struggle with sales anymore. Right? And then they're like, but your work is needed, and they give you that thumbs up, like, you know, and it's just like a dagger, like, okay, all right, my work is needed, but you don't need it. Like, that's cool. So like, they didn't even want to come to the webinar. And so it's just about, now you've got this process where you can ease them into starting to get value from you, but systematically and really quickly. Like, they go through it in a few days, and then once they've got some value from you that they didn't even want that value from you a week ago, they didn't know you enough. You had to like ease them there. And then once they've got that value from you, they're like, oh, wow, you're actually helpful. Yeah, I'd like to come to your challenge or your workshop or your thing.
And that's the main thing, that cold traffic can be ruthless. If you're never sold to cold traffic, you're in for a whole experience. Sometimes like people can just because they're skeptical, they don't know you, they don't like you, they don't trust you just yet, right? So you do need a way to warm up that traffic, where long form content honestly is such a different level of conversations, right? When someone has consumed, you know, sometimes hours of your content.
And
right?
even if the cold traffic convert, they're still skeptical when they come into the program, right? So they're high maintenance because they're uncertain, they don't know, they're, you know, so they're asking you all these questions and they're being difficult, and you can tell they're kind of like sometimes got the resistance, like they're fighting you and questioning everything, versus a client who came through and was hella nurtured and took in a ton of content and then went to a challenge. They're like, I know you, I love you, I know everything that you do, here's my money, let's go.
Yes. Those are the lay down
They're the
deals.
ones you want, right? That's I won't get
Exactly.
on a sales call with someone if they haven't been through my nurture sequence.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah. And again, we even, first thing today, I was jumping on a sales call with a potential podcast partner, and the conversation is so much different when they have gone through all the content. He's just like, man, can you please get to the price? Like, I've seen all the testimonials, all the proof. I've seen the content. I love what you guys do.
Just,
what does it take to work together, right? So it's such a different conversation. Still stick to your process. Never just go out of the process.
Don't skip the process. Right. Yeah.
Don't skip the
People
process,
hear
even
that.
though someone is super warm, because I'll tell you, you will miss out on some deals, even though you never just assume that you're gonna close. Treat it still as your standard process. A big mistake that I made, side note, in the past with that.
Top sales lesson.
How long does it take on average, from your experience, to build a 7-figure online community or group?
That's a good question, because some people come in at -10 and some people come in at +10, right? And so, like for me, it took me 6 years to have my first $1 million year. But I had 2 clients last year who did $500,000, one in 6 months, one in less than 12 months. And so this year they'll probably do $1 million, but they were already at 6 figures. Most of my clients come in and we work with super beginners getting off the ground, right? And so most of them, if they've never made a sale, it's going to take them about 8 to 12 weeks, right, to get some money coming in and start making sales. Some of them have made money in the first month, but most are going to take 8 to 12 weeks to start making money. And then a number of them have done 6 figures, multiple 6 figures in the first year. And from that point, then you kind of have foundations, right? For me, where I got stuck, like I was there for a few years, and I was just because I wasn't working the business model, and I was chopping and changing and shiny object syndrome, or not even, it wasn't even intentionally shiny object syndrome. I just didn't know what I didn't know, and I kept changing my front end offer, and I was trying to hire appointment setters, and I was trying to go to new platforms, and then Instagram, and then podcasts, and just trying to throw too many things into the mix, when really all I had to do was just add a back end offer and keep the through line working. And so that's why, like, the clients that have come through recently that are already at 6 figures, like, they've moved way quicker than me, because it's like, just stick to the through line, just do the thing. And so depends on where you're starting, right?
That is an absolute massive difference that you start seeing as well, depending on the customer that you serve, right? When someone already is at 6 figures, so much easier to take them to 7, right? Compared
much
to
easier.
taking someone to making their first 100K. Like, that's an uphill battle. Whereas when someone comes in, like one of our podcast licensees, she was already at 20K months, and as soon as we plug in our podcast system, boom, in literally 8 weeks, she doubled the business. In about 6 months, she tripled her business, about to crack 100K months. And it just shows, like, man, it's so much easier when someone already has, like, the foundation, and it's more about, hey, let's put the pieces together better.
Yes,
Right
100%.
now, they're just not fitting with each other. In terms of the customer journey that we were discussing, right? We discussed what it takes to get them on the group, to confirm every single time the groups are free, right?
Yeah, it's a free community.
So they come in, and then the whole goal is to ascend them or sell them on a high ticket program or offer, correct?
100%. So you're still working the business model. So the community is at the front end of the business model, which is how you are going it's a replacement for, say, having YouTube or Instagram or whatever platform it is. The community is the front end where you're really putting the nurture sequence in place. Then you still have to have a sales event. So for us, it's like a 5-day challenge, a smaller money event. We have clients that do it with like 4 or 5 people. So that's very small to get started. But you have a sales event, and then you have your core offer, and then you have your high-end offer. And so for a lot of people, if they're like what I've found as well, like with clients of mine, they were stuck in the same spot I was stuck, is that they've got an engagement, they've got a community, they've got a sales event, they've got a core offer, and it's kind of converting okay. It's not converting amazing. It could be optimized, it could be better. But then they're just chopping and changing at this point. They're not optimizing anything, and then they don't have a back end offer, and so they're changing what they're selling every single month at the front end, which creates confusion. It destroys momentum, right? And then they don't have anywhere for them to go, so there's a lot of churn, and the money's in the back end, and second money is easier than first money. And so just tidying that up, and then just follow it through a community, sales event, core offer, high end offer.
So, and the sales event, is this like a webinar, or what's the model that you use for this in person? What's exactly the model for?
5-day challenge. We call them smaller mighty events because we have clients do them. Like I have one client, she did it with 5 people and made 2 sales. Another one did it with 3 and made 2 sales. So you can start really small, but it's a 5-day challenge.
Yeah, got it. In terms of the numbers of the community, what's the realistic expectation, or what's the data that you have seen when it comes to, in terms of growing your group, how many of those will turn into a high ticket customer? What percentage?
That's a really good question. I don't know the exact data from the group itself, but we have clients that are doing 6 figures and multiple 6 figures with groups at less than 1,000, like a few hundred people. So you don't need a lot. You'll be making money off the first 100 people that come into your Facebook group. And we've had people come through, like we had one guy come in, he'd never done a social media post. He'd never posted online, and he launched his group and did 10K in the first month. Brand new. So you will make money off the first 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 people that come into your group. And then the better you get at refining it, right? The more it will grow. But I don't know the exact, like our group is, we're only at like 7,500. So it's not a massive group. But we're growing significantly faster right now than what we were last year. So the numbers will be different now probably to what they were last year as well. So
what I love about basically the group model is that ultimately those people have already put their hand up and say like, hey, I like what you have here. Mm-hmm. I'm this person and I want to find out more, right? So they're kind of separating themselves from the pack.
They choose, they opt in, and people are so worried like, what if I don't get the right people, I get the wrong people? No one's joining your group on how to fix their hormones if they don't want to fix their hormones. Like they're not doing that. No one's joining a group for mums if they either aren't a mum or they're thinking about becoming a mum, right? That's them selecting in. Now, they may get to the group and look at your content and select out. That is possible, right? And I've had plenty of people message me and go, Sarah, this is not for me. You're not my vibe or whatever. I don't resonate with this. And that is a thing, but it's basically like a mini opt-in. Like, hey, I'm interested in solving this problem. And it's such an easy call to action. Like if you're reaching out and connecting with people and saying, would you like to join my group? There's value in the group, but it's not asking them to turn up at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday night to a webinar where you're going to sell them something, and it's probably just going to be a big sales pitch and probably going to be a waste of their time, and they don't know you anyway. Mm-hmm. Instead, it's like, check it out if you want, don't check it out if you don't want, watch the replays, do it in your own time. So it's just a very soft ask, and then that's an instant, yeah, I actually am interested in that thing, but I probably wouldn't have said it before because I didn't want you to try and sell me something at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday.
Hey, real quick, if you're a founder, CEO, or business owner looking to build a personal brand, scale your business, and become a great leader, I've been curating all the best lessons, tactics, and strategies that I've learned from 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs and my own business journey into the ultimate playbook to help you accomplish just that. So if you're keen to get them straight into your inbox, sign up for our newsletter in the link down below. Now back to the episode. in your experience as well, how long does it take to get your first 100 people in the group? And then how long does it take to get your first 1,000 people?
Not long. So we run a group growth challenge to that's like our sales event. So we basically get people growing their group before they join my program. And the record for that from brand brand new, these people don't have audiences or anything. They're not social media marketing people. They're getting their businesses off the ground. And the record is 70 members in 4 days. So that's 70 hot leads in 4 days, organic, free, interested in your problem. Most people can easily get 10 to 20 people per week joining the group. Our goal is to get you to 20 people per week. A lot of our clients will get 30, 40 people per week. My group only grows by like 40 or 50 people per week, so it doesn't grow massively. But you can get to the first 100 in like 4 to 6 weeks.
Yeah, that's one thing that we do with one of our podcast partners. Actually, we determined that for his strategy, it was better to have a private community. And getting the first 100 people was a bit of an uphill battle, especially because of a completely new offer, right? So we were looking for the messaging that was generally getting people to want to go into a private community. But now, fast forward a few months later, is growing way more than 100 people per month.
Good.
So we found that, yeah, it is exponentially easier once you get a few people. Especially, we noticed that the engagement and actual feeling of community is what truly has helped to now get that kind of momentum with the group. So my question to you is, how do you go about creating that really high engaged community with your group?
It all comes back to the nurture sequence, right? Because business is built one relationship at a time, right? One relationship after the next, after the next. And so when they come into your community, most people join a group, but they never hear from them. And the algorithm's not necessarily like pushing the content to them, or maybe you're not posting great hooks or whatever. So sometimes, like we're not the best at putting out content that people want, stops their scroll. And so if you implement the nurture sequence where you reach out, you welcome them to the group, you offer the value, you're instantly going to start getting the content to them. And they're going to get value sooner. And if they get value from you, they like you, the conversation changes. But then at the same time, if you take an interest in them and connect with them, not from I'm trying to sell you anything, just where are you from? What do you do for work? How'd you get into that? Amazing. Hopefully this video is helpful. By the way, I have this other thing. Like, you're just leading with value and taking an interest. At the same time, you do that for everyone that comes in, and you're going to start to have some people who like you, and people who like you engage on your content. At first, it's really hard to get engagement because no one wants to be the first and no one's engaging. So the first 100 people, it's like, oh, there's no one in this group. I don't want to join this group, right? There's no one in it, which is why a lot of our strategy to get the first 100 people is actually in the DMs and private connections, right? And so once you get them in there, if you take an interest, give value to them at the same time, you're going to start building connections and relationships with people who actually like you. And you don't have to maintain that level of connection with them. Once they've had a really positive first experience, that stays with us. Like, if you think about let's say you go to a dentist and you go to a dentist and you sit down and they're like, okay, cool, we'll be with you in a minute. And so they kind of like shush you off to the side, go sit down, whatever. And then the dentist comes out and they take you in, they're right on time. Great, cool. That's all right. They did their job. If you go into another dentist and they like present it nice and warmly, they bring you some water, they put the TV on for you, they say, do you need anything? Here are some mints, right? They give you this really nice, beautiful experience. And then they say, we're so sorry, the dentist is running 5 minutes late. Okay, then a dentist comes out. Which one are you going to regard, even though the first one was on time, but the experience wasn't nice, right? So the initial onboarding experience, both for our free group and our paid communities, really matters because they will remember that initial onboarding experience and how they felt. So if you onboard them really well and give them a really great experience coming into your community, they're going to remember you, they're going to like you, they're going to love you, it's going to create raving fans, and they're going to get engagement.
Experience, the customer experience, whether, as you said, whether it's a free type of offer or community or actually getting paid for the services, that will drastically increase, what kind of response you get from clients, even the results that they get. Because when someone has a great experience with you, they kind of you see almost the real time belief on it change and make them be all in. Well, I've seen this many times where someone kind of they join what we do or whatever, and you can tell like they're yet to be all in. Like they're still, you know, on maybe potentially on, they've been burned in the past, so they still have a high level of skepticism or anything like that. But as soon as you provide, you truly focus on giving a world-class customer experience, there's a moment where you can see it literally in their eyes, where they switch and they're like, okay, I got it. I'm all in. Let's do this, right?
You do that really well here. Like you created such a good experience before the podcast, after the podcast. You have like all these little things that you do that just makes the experience so good, right? And we get to do that even though it's online and it's virtual. We get to decide like, how do I want them to feel when they come into my community, and what do I want that experience to be? And even though we have a very systematic customer journey process and everyone goes through the same experience, we did still design that experience for them to come through and feel a certain way.
Got it. Another question as well is the game that you're playing is mainly, let's try to grow as much as possible the group, because we know there is inevitably a percentage of people that will buy, or is it let's focus more on growing to a specific number, and then it's more about, hey, let's make sure that the most amount of people that is already engaged in the community are going to buy? Which one is more of the focus that you follow?
Ooh, probably the second one. You still want to keep growing the community, but with the intention of making sure that if everyone goes through that customer journey process, and you still, they say the money's in a follow up, right? So you still want to follow up and touch base. But like if someone only grows their group to 200 and then just sort of stops and is only focusing on those 200 people, well, only a certain percent of those people are ready to buy now. Right, so there's a percent ready to buy now, there's a percent that may be like shopping and hunting, and then there's a percent that are never going to buy. And so if you kind of stop at 200 people and think, okay, I'm just going to maximize this, you will run out of leads. And a thing that also creates engagement and energy in the community is new people coming in, because when new people come into a space, they're excited and they're curious and they want to check it out. And so we always want to be filling the group and growing the group, but we want to make sure that intentionally we're not just like filling it with numbers and then doing nothing with them, right? Like it's dialed in, the customer journey process is dialed in, the follow-up process is dialed in, so that we're maximizing from both angles.
What's the biggest mistake you have made building $1 million group?
It wasn't with the group. It was just not working the business model, like not having a clear ascension from one thing to the next, because the group is just a way to build an audience, and it's great because it's community focused, especially now with everything that's going on with AI and people want a place to belong. People are going to want to see live content, they're going to want to connect with you, right, and know that you're not a AI generated video. So it's amazing for that. But it's just like building a channel anywhere else, building a YouTube channel, building a podcast channel. It's like your front end way to do your marketing, but you still need to have the business model on the back end, right? You still need a clear ascension model. You still need a clear through line. You still need to know what you're doing with that. And that was definitely my biggest mistake. And I think that that's most people's biggest mistakes, is they're just doing all this messy stuff at the front end and then chopping and changing, and new niche, new offer, new this, new that, new group name, new everything, new banner. Like every week they're changing their banner, right? Like it just doesn't matter. I've seen people have massive success with the most ugly, like, and I'm not saying it doesn't matter. I'm just saying we tend to put more weight on it than is necessary. And then we're at the front end just making all these changes over and over. And really the answer was actually in just having a clear ascension model, a clear through line, and then just working it.
And that's one of those things that we see time and time again, people getting super distracted with, let me make a website, let me have a logo, let me just have my banner. So it's like, man, that does not drive revenue. That is not what you need to be working. And sometimes you got to call people out on these things and make them really see, like, hey, this is not a revenue driven activity. This is not what you need to be doing. This is what your competitors are currently doing. That's not the path to success. And by the way, I think you're honestly in one of the greatest niches to be in right now, especially with how AI is coming in. Is already very clear that people want more and more human connection and elements, which communities, groups are essentially providing. People can get information. It's no longer valuable, right? Information can be, you can get it anywhere. Now with all these LLMs, ChatGPT, all these different softwares and AI models that can give you pretty much any answer. But the community element, you can't replicate that with a bunch of robots, right?
100%. And you can do some really cool stuff. You can host meetups. You can set up collaborations. Like this, we have like a collaboration thread in there for people to set up interviews and stuff and just get exposure with other people's audiences. So you can really like ask yourself, well, how do I want to even create engagement in this community? You can bring in-person aspects to it, or what else would they get value from? Because the community is about the who. It's not about you. It's not about your service. We have a funnel and a back end to lead them to our service, but it's about the who, which means that you can really step back and go, well, how can I just make this a great community for the who? Like, what else would they want? What else would they get value from? And how can I make this a place that they really want to be part of? And the more that AI takes over, right, the more valuable of an asset that's going to become.
This is a this or that segment. So
Okay.
you just choose one or the other.
All right.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Sushi or steak?
Sashimi.
Expert or jack of all trades?
Expert.
Product or service business?
Service.
CEO or founder?
Founder.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook.
Facebook or LinkedIn?
Facebook.
Facebook or YouTube?
Facebook.
Photos or videos?
Videos.
Short form or long form video content?
Long form.
Newsletters or podcasting?
Podcast.
My girl. Organic or paid marketing?
Organic.
1 million followers with low conversions or 1,000 raving fans?
1,000 fans.
Building a talent or hiring a talent?
If you can afford to hire
A talent at a high price tag or multiple cheap C talent?
a talent.
Property investing or shares?
Property.
Property investing or Bitcoin?
Property.
Property investing or buying businesses?
Property.
Building a business or buying a business?
Buying.
Passion 6-figure business or stressful 8-figure business?
A figure.
Facebook group or school community?
Group.
Group or circle community?
Group.
Sales or marketing?
Marketing.
Now, you came here today with an 8-figure entrepreneur, which happens to be your mentor. And he was actually, as a guest on the podcast, Mr. Richmond Dean. I'm curious because it seems like you're spending quite a lot of time with him in terms of what's the biggest lesson that you have gotten from him and how much have you invested in him?
Love it. In the last 15 months, I have invested 160,000 USD, which is around 300,000 Australian dollars just with him. Not what I've invested, but what I've invested just with him. Probably one of the biggest lessons, like one of the biggest things that he taught me is that people will take you places that money can't. And he has done that for me. He's opened up so many doors for me. And obviously he's a really good mentor. So he's, helped me build my business as well. But he lives that, right? He lives that saying, and like it's such a thing. Like people go into programs, into mentorship programs with coaches, and they're so fixated on getting everything for nothing that they forget about the relationships that they're building. Because a relationship with a mentor is still a relationship too. And the relationships with your audience is a relationship. And then the relationships that you make with people that you meet or you do collaborations with are relationships. And everyone's trying to have everything now, instantly, for nothing. And they're not focusing on, well, what can happen if you really build the relationships and if you serve enough people, right? Coming back to the whole, if you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. And so really seeing that come into play is that, people can take you places that money can't. And the product is not the product is people. And so if you really just shift that focus in every aspect of your business, with your clients, with your partnerships, collaborations, leads, mentors, and you just focus on the relationship, like you will get everything that you want.
I love that. And you got to pay to play.
You got to pay to play. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I'd rather learn from his mistake. Like he set up this podcast with you and me. I didn't even have to do it. I didn't have to reach out. He set it up. Like I'm okay to pay for that.
And guess what? Instantly, he gave you credibility because he came, obviously, I could tell because also he came referred through another good friend of mine that is playing at a high level. So I knew straight off the bat, like, hey, I trust my connection with him. Same thing.
Yeah.
He just did it, and I didn't second guess. I just trusted his knowledge on you, and basically him referring you as, hey, I think this will be a great fit for the podcast too. So yeah, people can take your places. Absolutely, massive
100%.
lesson there. What's the worst business advice you have ever received?
Oh, the worst business advice. I would say, as a beginner, I did a lot of branding courses for a beginner though. It's not like, I don't think that there's necessarily bad advice. There's the right thing at the right time, and there's the right thing at the wrong time, right? Because if someone else is preaching it, it's probably worked for them, right? And if they're teaching it, it probably works for other people too. But is it the right thing for you right now? And so at the beginning, I tried to make this fancy branding for what? I'd got no one results. I'd built no relationships. I had no program. What the heck did it matter? And then I tried to build a website. Again, I spent ages building a website. That was terrible. I don't think anyone gave me that advice. I don't know where I got it from. I just thought I needed a website, right, to build a business. So that was a huge waste of time. And then I tried to run ads. I had a mentor teaching me to run ads and automate a webinar when I didn't have a single sale. That was very expensive. And so it wasn't really like bad advice. It was just not the right time to be doing that thing.
Timing is everything. And again, like focusing on the right revenue driven activities. There's a million things that you could be doing, but which is the right thing that you should be doing at that time that is going to drive the most amount of results and revenue? Opposite to that, what's the best business advice you have ever received?
Work the business model.
I love that. That was a big lesson for me too.
Yeah, just work the business model.
Sarah, it's been an absolute pleasure having you here. Where can people find you, join your group, your communities, and ultimately engage with you?
100%. Just join the group. It's called $1 Million Groups on Facebook. You can't miss it. It's bright pink.
As usual, all the links will be down below. All I ask from you is that if you enjoyed this episode, if you got value, if you know any other founders, entrepreneurs that will benefit of everything that we just covered here, just share the episode. That's it. Costs you nothing, and it can help us truly get this to as many founders out there as possible. Again, links will be down below. I'll see you on the next episode. Good vibes for everyone. Hey legends, my goal with Founders Playbook is to help 1 million entrepreneurs build successful personal brands and businesses so that they can increase their impact and profits. You can support the mission by simply sharing the podcast with other founders and entrepreneurs. Leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and follow us on social media. Let's get to work.